May 31st, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today at 5:30, which is about right here. Economic data was a core PCE price index that came out, and you could say that it was already kind of in this small little range, and then it came out and it kind of caused this spike. Then on the open, it sold off, and then on the open it kind of rallied. It had this really big sell-off, very gradual sell-off, all the way until I think for about three hours, and then it kind of hit an inflection point and then rallied very hard. One thing I want to point out, which is very interesting, there was quite a lot of volume today and a lot of movement, but the movement didn't necessarily translate to a lot of tradable entries, at least in my opinion. And then I drew because it was kind of amazing that this is the last hour. This is at last 30 minutes. You can see this last 30 minutes, it moved 50 points. But it moved 50 points in the last 30 minutes, which is this blue rectangle that I drew. So it's like 30 minutes of price action, which is kind of amazing. But what's even more incredible is this red square that I drew. This is the last 10 minutes of price action. So you can look at the bars for the day, and you can see there is quite a huge proportion of price action in the last 10 minutes. Now, this is kind of like danger territory. This doesn't happen very often, but when it did happen, it's amazing that it went like, I don't know, almost, 30, 35 points. Well, I think my math's a little off, but about 30 points, maybe 40 in the last 10 minutes already from a rally that started, 30 minutes, a whole 30 minutes before the close right here, which is kind of crazy. I'm going to go ahead and delete these because I don't need them, but it was just something interesting I pointed out to myself. And it's in the video now, so if I look back, I'll kind of see it and kind of remember something like this. So it was a big V shape, and not only did it come all the way back, I didn't find this channel until the end of the day when it closed, so it didn't really help me out. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this guy. And then I was playing all these tiny little short trend channels because I couldn't get an overarching big governing channel like I did, until the very end. So it was kind of hard to really find any clean setups. Found a cluster of setups potentially right here, and then a couple right here. But other than that, these big moves, it was hard, and it made me anxious to try to want to get on one of these because you see these big moves and you see it comes back. And it's after the fact though. So unfortunately, I didn't take any trades, but I did see some potential setups and I just wasn't fast enough, or I just, I wasn't recognizing them in real time fast enough. That's more on me to get better at trading. So this is what the pre-market looked like. Pre-market, just kind of scooted over here. Pre-market, it was in this kind of a, wouldn't really say tight trading range, but this is almost 20 points. Then it rallied. It hit the pre-market highs, which is actually this blue dotted line right here. And I drew the pre-market highs because it looked like I had more confirmations at the top right here. Then it sold off. So here's the 530 PCI price index number, 530 Pacific Standard. It kind of sold off, and I'm at this point thinking we might be in a big range. I was not thinking we're going to get that crazy V-shaped structure at all, but I was thinking it's probably going to come back down to probably where this red dotted line is, and then bounce in here for a while. But it is quite a big trading range though. The prices move. I drew this yellow down channel and it immediately broke through, so I found this other blue channel to work with, but it didn't really yield any favorable setups that I could see that were worth taking. It gets really congested here, comes up, tests the EMA, and it breaks through. So it flashes up. It goes up what I think is this orange channel. It comes up and it hits this potential resistance. So I drew this line first, and this is my thinking. I'm thinking I might be in a sub trading range with potential lower bound of the trading range where this sub trading range was. So I'm thinking maybe it's going to bounce in here, but I wasn't confident yet. I need to see more price action. I need to see more respect played here. Then I need to see a bounce here. Prices then move down, and what I try to fit this yellow channel, I see a breakout here, which kind of helped because, or not helped, but it helped in my thinking that this is potentially the range. There's a small breakout here, and now I'm expecting or looking for prices to kind of turn back up. So you don't even have a first entry long yet. Now you have a first entry long. And then you have a second entry long. Unfortunately, this signal bar, I mean, you could have dragged this range a little bit lower, but I had it here and I kind of looking at it and I'm thinking, well, this isn't a very good signal bar. Is there really a long position here? So you have a confirm second entry long from here, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. Not a good signal bar. So I'm actually waiting for a higher low and a push through the EMA. Unfortunately, you don't get that and it starts trending down. So I'm still thinking maybe there's a trading range here. It's kind of a weak trading range, or it's not very well confirmed. So it starts pushing this far out and it's not coming back. It comes back here. It's a new low, first entry short, second entry short failure, because this signal bar is terrible for second entry short. Second entry short failure, you're hitting this potential resistance here. So I wasn't, when I saw this in real time, I'm not thinking long either. Plus the EMA is already approaching. Pushes up, pushes through. It hits this double, you could say technically a triple test. And I was looking, is there a short trade here? Nothing I particularly like because it's still above the EMA. EMA still is kind of in play. And then pushes back down. So from here, I was looking, is there a potential lower high? And you don't get a lower high, and just flashes down. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, my original thought of this trading range isn't valid anymore. It was just a resistance that was respected here, but that's all you really have. Prices then start moving down. I drew this red trend channel coming down, and I matched it with this red trend line coming down. I made it into a channel here, and it looked like it fit relatively well. Comes back, it kind of bottoms. It's showing a bottoming pattern. And so I'm just watching and wondering, is this ripe for reversal? Because even though it didn't make it down to my pre-market low, there's a possibility that there's a zone of potential support here. So buyers might be coming in, but I would need a pretty nice setup. They have a new low, first entry short, pull back. Technically, I have a second entry short. Second entry short's confirmed here, but there's no real room to trade out before you hit this potential support, which has shown that prices respect it, at least for a little while. Now it's like getting really tight trading. I'm still watching, looking for a bounce, but then it breaks through. So there's no clean setup. And you look back and I was looking through here thinking, did I miss a potential setup? I don't necessarily think so, at least a high probability one. But who's to say? I mean, that's just kind of from my experience level. So I'm not 100% confident in my read, but at least I know I stayed out of potential trouble. You have first entry short here. Pull back. You have a potential second. Well, you don't. You have a confirmed second entry short here now. Then it comes back and it creates this lower high. I actually thought this was a possible short trade. Lower high confirming the second entry short. It's coming from a third touch of this red down channel now. So you can trust it because it does fit down here pretty well. There's no real breakout. You could argue there's a small breakout, but I'm not confident in this breakout. So I'm thinking it's still within this range and it hit the top. It's coming back down. I'm expecting it to hit the low side of this red channel coming down. I'm not too particularly worried about this support, this pre-market support, because it could actually be down here where this red dotted line is. So I'm expecting, because I've seen price break through twice, break through once, not necessarily twice, but it did break through over here. So I'm not as worried. And I thought there was a potential trade here. Plus the bearish bias is pretty overwhelming. Looked like it would have worked. It has too many dojis here, so I'm just staying out of this area. Prices then continue moving down. I'm watching, it's not coming back to the EMA except for this one time. And so now it's kind of flattening, kind of what we've seen before. Comes back up, breaks through the EMA. It breaks through this red down channel now, consolidating. And I think there's a trading range here. So I drew this blue trading range. It's kind of has a bullish bias right now. Previously it was bearish. It's like a two-tier trading range. Flashes back down. So I'm looking for any potential reason to go long here. Depending on how you counted it, I saw this as more of a double test, one touch, two touch. So you're looking potentially for a third touch to reverse. But if you look to the left, this has been a huge, strong sell-off. So it's going to take more than just a triple test to convince me to go long. I need a triple test and a clean setup. Ideally, maybe like a higher low or something and break above the EMA. It just gets really tight here. You could technically you can find your second entries in here, but is it a trading range? It's a first entry, second entry, technically a third entry, but I'm not too keen on this price action because it's only about a 4-point range with the candles themselves being roughly, 2 to 3 points. So I'm just sitting tight. It kind of consolidates, excuse me, consolidates, it pushes through the bottom of the trading range. EMA is still somewhat being respected, but then it pushes back up, and I'm watching, is this going to be a failed breakout? And it comes with a price coming back into the trading range. Kind of. But here, I'm thinking is a potential failed breakout. The power of the trading range is coming into play. This red down channel technically broke and tested its new low, but this could just be one gigantic leg, a consolidation, and a second gigantic leg coming down. But I do see this. I see a new high here. Technically, the new high of more new recent high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. The second entry long isn't very convincing, especially after this close. And I'm thinking it might be a failed breakout here. Second entry long is confirmed, but now second entry long was confirmed on this candle and it's kind of reinforced here. But now I'm thinking here, this second entry long has technically failed and is pushing back into the EMA. So I'm thinking there's a possible trade here. It's a failed breakout of the range added to it. And it engulfed this previous bar with a strong close. But I don't know if I was reading this correct because I could see this as one push up, one attempt, two attempt, and it could, maybe have a second leg up. Maybe there is going to be kind of a reversal now, but I was still leaning more toward a bearish bias because it's really strong push down consolidation. I'm thinking for another push down, but I wasn't sure, so I sat it out. And then this next candle, like, just flashed right through. Price is pushed down. It's breaking out of this trading range. I'm thinking, is there a failed breakout here? But it doesn't. It's like a failed breakout pullback. It's choppy. Nothing I particularly feel safe about taking. You do have a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. I would not have been thinking of going short just yet after seeing this candle. Then when this candle forms, the trade feels like it's not quite there. I did draw this green trend line coming down and I matched it with this bottom to make it a channel, but it's not very clean. It's too wide, but I think this could be setting up for something. So I leave it there. Starts pushing down. It breaks through this potential support. And I was wondering if there's a potential trading range here. It's very noisy though, because I was thinking there might be a trading range here overlapping with this one, but this isn't a very clean trading range at all, so I wasn't that keen on it. Prices then continue moving down, so I then just deleted that. It was not necessary. Pushes down. It kind of obeys this green down channel. You have a new low, so first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short right here. There's a new low, first entry short, push up, and then right back down, second entry short. This is a really strong close, but I didn't like the size of this bar because if I wanted to put my entry one tick below, my stop has to be way up here. So that's going to be over 3 points. There is, granted, enough room to come down, but I saw this and I'm thinking I would rather wait for a lower high. So if you try to take this trade, depending on how many points you're going for, you would have gotten filled. And if you kept your stop up here, you'd be sitting in this trade right now. You'd have to live through this noise. And depending on where your profit target is, probably get out here. But I'm glad I didn't take that trade, even though it would have worked out for short. It just feels a little noisy. It could have been a better trade, especially with a lower high, which you don't quite get. I mean, you get a lower high here. Technically, this is a high that's lower than, this one, and you get it again here. But here it just felt a little trappy. Plus, you have a new high, first entry long. You could be making a case to go long here. When you see this in real time, you also have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Is this a higher low plus a potential second entry long? Yeah, but again, this is just getting really choppy, a little bit consolidated. I don't quite like it. If you took it, there's exactly 4 points. So I don't know that I would have gotten filled. So I'm okay not have taking this trade and just kind of dumb luck that, well, not dumb luck, but it's just, I'm glad I didn't take the trade and just kind of prove that, okay, my suspicions about it were kind of valid. And prices kind of moved down on this yellow down channel because this green one doesn't seem to fit very well now. I did play with the idea that maybe there is a larger channel, something like this, but this doesn't, so this doesn't really quite fit that well because you only have one touch. I mean, I count these as pretty much one touch. You could say there's two touches, but it's really one, and then maybe a two touch here. So it doesn't really confirm that well, that clean. Then prices continue moving down, and now I'm playing actually this yellow down channel, and I'm looking for any reason to take a short because it has proven in the past, just from the day's price action, if you had found a key entry point and a decent signal bar, it would have worked. But unfortunately, in the past, it didn't quite do that. And so now I'm looking, keeping my eyes peeled. This is a very nice candle. Unfortunately, you only have the first entry long, and you're already pressing the localized low, or actually the day's low. So I needed something like if there was a setup here that came up, touch the EMA, or ideally came right here where the EMA and the green, the yellow down channel are kind of at the same spot, that would have been perfect. But I don't get that. But I do see a new low, first entry short. There's a second entry short here. This was tempting at the time, but I didn't like that there was this outside dwell and then it pushed up. So I was thinking one leg up, pull back, push up. There could be a second leg here. So if I took a short, I might get filled, but I don't know that I would have gotten out. And then another leg up. So I was already thinking that this measured move was actually a little bit lower initially. So it looked like it would have potentially trapped me. It gets a little noisy, starts chopping. It starts drifting upwards, but I don't see any clean second entries. Technically, you have a new low here. Your first entry short, second entry short confirmed here, but this is a signal bar. You wouldn't have been thinking of going short just yet. And then when this one closed, it's too close to the EMA now. Bounces. I do draw this purple trend line going up. And where this midline of this trend channel was is actually where I had my other, actually had the highs of this trend. So this is the trend channel I was working with at the time. It flashes up, it has an overshoot, and I'm thinking, is it going to come back down? But it starts drifting up. So this didn't look like it fit very well. So then I thought, okay, maybe it's this orange one going up. So it could be like kind of a spike consolidation, and there's a new channel going up. It fit pretty nicely. You do have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. The second entry long is a terrible signal bar, far from the EMA. There's nothing really going for it except the bullish momentum. But I don't know that at the time to trust it enough. So I was down here, it overshot, and I'm thinking maybe it's a part of a bigger channel here. Prices continue moving up, so I again think, okay, do I want to try to capture this? I'm thinking more of this orange up channel had a break and test of a new high. Is it going to come back down? Probably. Is it going to bounce off the EMA? I don't know, because I don't know if it's going to try to come back down and test the bottom of this purple channel. You do have a new high, first entry long, technically a second entry long. I don't like the signal bars inside. Then I do see this. I see kind of a visual new high, one leg down, pull back, second leg down. That's where I drew these two blue lines. So it's a visual second entry long. The thing I like about this potential trade is a visual two legs down. It created a measure move. It pushed back really strongly above the EMA with a really strong close. So this engulfed this guy. So I was thinking, okay, this is probably has enough momentum to push up, and you have enough room before you clear the high, before you in before you come into contact with the recent high, as well as the pre-market low. But the pre-market low of this trading range, I'm not as worried about it just yet. I mean, you do see kind of a support, somewhat support, resistance, resistance. So I do have enough room to get out. So I'm not that concerned about it yet. I was thinking I was going to drop my order just to be safe at the highs, at the double highs of these two candles. But as you can see, prices never came back to pick me up. So that's me being too conservative. If I put it one tick above here, I would have at least probably gotten it and got the quick scalp, but I didn't trust the read or the setup strong enough. That it was strong enough. So I missed out on that trade. Prices didn't go up. I find that this orange channel no longer is valid. So I drew this yellow channel. It's much more shallow, but it had a good confirmation, 1, 2, 3 touches. And this is where I actually see a new high, higher than everything else in the recent price action. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. And I thought this is actually also another possible trade. It has multiple key entry points, but I didn't see it at the time because I actually didn't know. So this purple one, it was coming up. I had one touch, two touch, three touch. It has a fourth touch here. Then I wasn't sure if the purple was still in place. I didn't really have this yellow channel fully established. I had it as a trend line, so I didn't quite trust it. It feels like it's more sideways consolidation, but it is making higher lows each time. And had I kind of realized and trusted the setup more, I could see four key entry points. It's a new high, first entry long, pullback, potential second entry long, yet to be confirmed, new low, first entry short, second entry short is about to fail. So this next candle, if it closes or at least pushes above this, then you know you have the second entry long, failed second entry short bouncing off this yellow up channel and this purple up channel and close above the EMA. So this is where the trade should have been taking place. So this is only a 3-tick bar. This is very tiny, very low risk. I definitely should have jumped in on this, but I think I hesitated and there was plenty of time to take this trade. It's just I didn't, for whatever reason, brain farted, didn't really trust it. And of course, then you would have gotten filled here. This probably would have gotten me the quick scalp. And then this one for sure, if you're even going for 2 points, would have given you the quick scalp. So unfortunately, this is a trade that was missed. I'm going to actually asterisk it. This is probably a good setup to have taken. Prices then continue moving, comes back down, breaks through, and it creates this higher low. It's a new high, say first entry long, second entry long, and then a higher low confirming the second entry long break of this is very small because it could be corresponding break here. So I'm not that concerned. It is on the EMA strong support. You're breaking out of the purple channel. So you're still within the yellow, but you're breaking out of the purple and you could be pushing back in. So this is probably a possible trade to have taken. It looks like if you entered even 1 tick above or even 1 tick above this guy, you would have gotten filled and then you would have definitely gotten the trade. So unfortunately, I missed that one as well. Prices then continue moving up. It comes back down, kind of chops around. It gets a little noisy here. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. I don't like that the second entry long signal bar is an inside bar, but then you also have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Second entry short is a good signal bar, but again, thinking of selling is kind of not in my thoughts anymore because it clearly had a push down. Now it potentially is pushing back up. I saw one leg, kind of a sideways consolidation, a potential second leg. So definitely in real time, I wasn't thinking short. It felt risky. It would have worked though, and then kind of reverses back up. So seeing this, kind of abandoning it, just kind of sitting on hands now. Prices move up. Nothing I could find really fit this larger legs up. So you clearly see that, okay, prices are reversing. Try to make something fit. This purple one already existed. It didn't quite fit too well here. And so I kind of was just playing these piecemeal trend lines, trend channels going up. Consolidation area here keeps moving up. No clean second entries. You do have a first entry long. Technically, depending on how you did the count, I reset the count here. The first entry. You technically have a second entry. Then when you see this candle open and close, I'm not thinking of going long just yet. It felt dicey. Would have pushed down. So if I did take the trade, my stop would have been 1 tick below this candle. And it looked like he would have survived. So it'd be like a first entry long pullback, second entry long, then technically second entry long failed, and then it bounced right back up. I drew this after this candle. I thought, okay, maybe there's another candle going up. It touches and confirms pretty well here, somewhat well here. So I'm thinking this is the trade, or this is the trend channel. But it's also entering the last 30 minutes now. So I felt like, okay, definitely had to fight my anxious fear of missing out because I felt like there was some good setups here that I didn't jump in on, especially this one. That it is getting towards the end of the day. End of the week as well. I don't want to take a unnecessary trade at this point. It's better to end with no trade as opposed to a red trade because then that probably just it'd be a terrible way to end the day and week and month. The prices keep moving up. It breaks out of this purplish channel. I thought, okay, it's kind of moving up on this channel again. So today, wasn't the easiest for me to read or find clean channels because there's just these, it's a lot of price action, definitely, a lot of movement, but nothing super clean. A more experienced trader probably could have figured this out, dialed in a lot faster than I did, but I didn't really quite see things that well until after the fact. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capitalize on this, and this is entering the last 10 minutes. So right here, this is the last 10 minutes where I'm definitely not going to take any trades because I don't want to be stuck and trying to resolve a trade in 10 minutes. But starting from here, you start seeing all this crazy movement in the last 10 minutes, which isn't that surprising to me. So there's really small candles pushing up. If you went long, you likely would have just been profitable, but it would just be kind of a Hail Mary play. So it's from here all the way through. Look at this. This is all the last 10 minutes, which I mentioned isn't surprising because I suspect since it's the end of the month, there are traders kind of repositioning themselves as well as potential institutions repositioning their portfolios because they do have to do a monthly, I guess, summary of what they've done for their clients. So you can see how much price action, how much stuff was being traded just in 10 minutes. Like this is clearly more than 10 candles. And so it's just kind of very interesting. And I'm glad I stayed out of it. Yes, if I, threw a Hail Mary play and just went long, it would have worked out, but who's to say? And also, I might have gotten shooken out. Like let's say I took a long here. This is a 5 point move per contract. That would have definitely made me nervous. So pretty interesting day. Unfortunately, there was no trades that I took. There was one really decent trade I thought was right here, and then a couple other possible trades, but unfortunately, I just wasn't dialed in today to capitalize on it. So hopefully that was helpful.